Well, as leftist demands to defund the police begin to overshadow the Black Lives Matter movement, some argue that our law enforcement need more funding now than ever. Here's One America's Jenn Pellegrino.
Joining me now is Pastor Darrell Scott. Pastor, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Pastor, you were in Washington earlier this week. You spoke at a congressional hearing on police reform, and of course the topic now everybody's talking about is defunding the police. Just moments ago, the Newark, New Jersey City Council voted to slash 5% funding from the police department there. They're saying it'll go towards creating a violence prevention office. When you look at cities like Newark, like Chicago, like Cleveland, where you are, it seems pretty logical that defunding the police departments there would actually hurt those communities quite a bit. You spoke about Cleveland extensively. Can you tell us a little bit about what you saw firsthand when the police department there was, the funding was slashed?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say that I think rather than defunding the police, we need to increase funding to police across the country. Crime statistics are up nationwide. In Cleveland in 2004, they slashed the budget 30%, 31%, almost a third of the budget was slashed. And as a result, a lot of necessary services were eliminated. And I could see the effects in this city that I was born and raised in. I could see communities that were once relatively safe communities have become harbors for criminal activity. You have gang violence, drug sales, drug use, drug abuse. If you know the police response is going to be either a very long time or non-existent, it emboldens criminals. It causes you to say, well, heck, nothing's going to happen if I do this anyway, so I can get away with it. And so I believe an increase in police funding, an increase in police presence, an increase in police power would go a long way in being a deterrent to the crime that's plaguing our inner cities.
Why do you think we're having this conversation now?
It's being instigated and agitated and stirred by the Democratic Party, by the left. It's election time. Every 4 years, they play this game called Pin the Racist on the Republican. And they look for something to serve as a talking point to legitimize their outrage or their fake concern or whatever. And so, since this happened and, since our president has a strong police base, this has become a talking point for the left just to garner votes. And they're actually, I'm sorry to say, using members of minority communities. We're being literally pawns in a large chess game. They're simply trying to get votes, trying to make the right look bad, and trying to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump.
Pastor, speaking of the president, I understand you met with him this week. Can you give us a glimpse into that conversation?
We had a great conversation. We brought some conservative Republicans up to have a sit down with him. We talked about a number of these current events. Now we got his opinion. I already was well aware of his opinion. I actually talked to him on the phone from home twice this past week. I talked to him Wednesday night. I talked to him the past Saturday. He expressed his horror and his disgust over what was going on. But he also understands the fact that the left is trying to exacerbate this situation and use it for political purposes. But this president is a pro-America president. And one thing I like that he said, this violence, this rioting, this looting, this chaos, it is absolutely disconnected from that tragic incident of George Floyd's death. And I like the fact that he stepped up to the plate and he put the governors of the states and the mayors and the police departments of these different states and cities where this violence is occurring, to put them on notice and said, if you don't put a stop to it, I will. He put Seattle on notice. If you don't shut this mess down, I'm going to shut it down. That's strong, brave, bold, courageous leadership. And I applaud and salute our president for not being afraid or ashamed or bowing to political pressure and giving in to these insurgents.
Pastor Darrell Scott, really appreciate you being with us. I wish we had more time, but thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and God bless you this weekend.
God bless you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.